Alright guys, so we are back for yet another Shichiga summon. So this time around we are looking at the green bombardment and double Zeta Gundam, and then we have ourselves Judo Ashta as well. So whether or not you want to consider summoning on this banner unit, I'm just gonna quickly toss out two considerations for you guys. First of all, what do we currently have and what does this unit fulfill? As far as the green element, I would definitely tell you guys this is one of the few green bombardment unit you will be seeing throughout the game. The next one that we'll be getting is going to be the gray Malk, so that is like for JP timeline. So if you want to kind of retrospect it to the global, we might have to wait probably 2 years, 1.5 years, because JP just recently got it not too long ago for both like the other two bombardments. So the first one after this one is going to be Grey Milk, and then the other one was the Gengaso, which is actually 2-3 weeks ago, so it's not even that. Oh, alright, so if you guys are trying to build out your green element squads, you know, this is the one to go to. But if you guys don't really care about building a specific color, like a monocolor team, you still have your S Gundam, you still have like your Zaku one with the big gun, or even like the red sidekick Zaku. Those are still really good option, because if you guys do read their, you know, skill 1, skill 2, they are pretty much doing the same thing with their own little bit of a uniqueness to it. So I feel like S Gundam is probably going to be the more popular option. Not really popular, but the one that has been in a lot of people's boxes, or the one that, you know, community wise has been recommending for newer players when they are starting on the game, whatever. So with that said, if you guys do have S Gundam, then don't go for this one. But if you're simply trying to build out your green element roster, like you want a backline unit rather in the form of a bombardment or a sniper, this one is probably going to be something you want to grab for the time being, and not having to wait literally 2 years down the line. The second consideration, because they dropped news on the next event, so which is next week, we are having a raid battle, so that's going to be in a form of the co-op. So in terms of the enemy that we are facing is the boss from what is it, the 08 MS team. So that is who my right out the bat, my consideration that we should be getting is going to be the EZ8. All right, so EZ8 is going to be another important unit to get, because EZ8 effectively makes all of the bombardment unit literally hits like a, it used to hit like a truck, but now it's gonna hit like a, I don't know, it's gonna hit like a plane. Not the same analogy, not the best analogy, but you guys get my point. EZ8 is literally gonna make every incoming bombardment type unit just 10 times better. So you have this one as a bombardment, and then if you pull for the EZ8, it's gonna be really good. But they also announced the next clan battle, which is what, another blue element enemy. So guess what, I think the finally is gonna be coming out. So I will definitely do a kind of like a follow-up video to that, because I do want to expand my thoughts on those two units specifically, whether or not you want to save everything and go for those two, or how you want to plan ahead for your diamonds. But anyways, let's kind of get back to this review right now. So in terms of the double Zeta Gundam, there's nothing too fancy. I think it's pretty straightforward, very similar to S Gundam, what is it, Zaku one with the big gun, and then even the sidekick Zaku. So as far as the kit, I think a lot of people are fairly familiarized. I don't think I will need to go in depth per se, but the thing that I do want to quickly point out is the stats, and then as we do look at the weapon, you guys will definitely see something a little bit fishy. All right, so right now in terms of the increased projectile, we're looking at a 2300. Increased beam is at a roughly about almost at a 1500. So there's like a huge disparity as far as, you know, this overall damage split. So that's kind of unfortunate, because if we do take a look at the main weapon, additional weapon, and then third weapon, you guys will see that the beam does have a relatively higher power, but in terms of the increased beam damage is going to be relatively low. So that is, I guess, in a way for them to kind of compensate for the fact that the additional weapon being a projectile is, you know, a little bit weaker. So I guess that's kind of how they want to keep things balanced, if you will. Now that we got that out of the way, EXQ is fairly simple. Just pretty much blasting out that high mega cannon at EXP level 5, you are going to be doing a 671% attack damage. So nothing too fancy, not even any additional effects. So in my opinion, that is kind of an L. I won't even lie, that's kind of weak, because I think all the other one has at least something to their EX skill. So the one that I know off the top of my head is the Psychic Zaku has one. Even Gundam has it, so this one is it's not relatively good. All right. We will skip Transcendent skill as always. We will come back to it in just a little bit. Skill 1, when battle begins, increase damage by 48%. So this one literally is damage in general, so that's pretty nice. When battle begins, decrease defense by 46%. So that's going to be, I guess, the con for this unit. So this one is literally a glass cannon. If you do not position your double Zeta Gundam correctly, you will literally get melted. So best advice when you guys start using this unit, trying to place it behind like a tank or a unit that is able to pull aggro, so the ally or the enemy does not directly target this unit. So that's my best advice for you guys. Going down to the skill 2, unlock strong attack, double beam rifle, and then when battle begins until 100% HP is remaining. So pretty much when you have 100% HP, increase projectile and damage by 48%. And then the second one is literally the same thing as well. So that's gonna be another one of those kind of like a what's going on moment, because they are literally just focusing on the projectile while neglecting the beam. So I think earlier on when they were making this, I feel like this is a way for them to kind of nerf this unit, but I mean, like, it's definitely right now we're just reading on a paper, so it's kind of like does it really, like, how much of an impact does it really does? So having this one, does it innately makes the additional weapon stronger? Throughout my testing of it, I think all three of the weapons, I think they are producing relatively the same damage, but even though this one is A power, even though they're only offering 2 projectile, I think it just kind of evens out the playing ground. So it's kind of like it's just honestly just a what's going on moment, because I just would have wished that this one would have just been a general damage as well. So these two, the main weapon and third weapon, can still shine as well. But no, we don't have the luxury of that, right? So that's kind of unfortunate. But I think the other selling point, besides just the negative aspect of this right here and then this right here, I think this is actually our first you can say range oriented unit that has a all three weapon on range. You don't necessarily see one that has like a melee oriented, because when we do take a look at the Gundam, when we take a look at the Zaku one with the big gun, or even the Psychic Zaku, all three of them in common in terms of their additional weapon is actually a melee weapon. So this one innately, when you guys are rotating through like the weapon trees and stuff, like this one is just constantly producing good damage. That's why even though this unit, there are some negative aspect to it, but it still stays up top, and it still remains one of the more strong units to be looking at. But now coming back to the Transcendent skill, we have an increased accuracy by 25%. So obviously that is really important, because when we do take a look at the additional weapon, the fact that you have to land 21 missile is a tall task. All right, so having the ability to increase accuracy is always going to be a great thing. And then also increase range damage by 36%. So literally every one of them are classified as the range, so more power as well. And then increase critical rate by 25%. So you're gonna love seeing those crits. So overall is actually pretty good. So it's kind of like a good mixture of good and bad. So making this unit, you can say balance, if you will. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. Alright, so moving now to Judo. So Judo is how are we doing? I think the thing that I don't like right out the bat, I'm just gonna put it out, is just actually the skill 1. Because skill 1 is kind of half baked, because what is it? Whenever you activate EXQ for both of them, you're increasing range sense by 50 or 57 and then 95. Obviously it's very high amount, but in terms of getting that EXQ gauge up is still gonna take a hot minute. So you might just be at a interval where these two are just not gonna activate. So I just would have wished that it would just removing that EXQ activation part and simply just have it when it, literally take that part out when when the mobile suit is green, you just increase that. Simple as that. They could have done that, for at least one of them, all right. But no, they want to say this. Let's do it for both of them. So that's kind of unfortunate. Skill 2 is pretty good. It's pretty generous. Nothing too much up out of the ordinary. So you are increasing accuracy by up to 20% when you are using a new type machine, and then high firepower. So that's pretty good. So rather than bad, if you do have everything maxed out, you are getting at least a 45% increased accuracy from the transcendent skill and this one. So that's pretty good. And then increasing range sense by another 238, so that's 60 or 74 in total. No, or 76 in total, my bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, but overall, it's pretty much what you expect from these pilot. There's nothing too out of the ordinary, I will have to say. But in terms of getting Judo, I do feel like as far as just, let's say, the Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit in the Double Zeta series or whatever, is not the most broad, I guess, series in the game. So if you are planning to use this unit to another, let's say, similar, you want to apply this one to like another range type unit, I think you might run into a situation where, let's say the first new Xeon War tags probably won't work. But other than that, I think overall everything else should fit. Like, obviously this one should fit. Bombardment probably, it depends what you're running. New type machine, I believe not a whole lot will have it, so that's kind of like a iffy option, right? But high firepower and Gundam type are probably a safe option. But overall, I think later on we will definitely be getting some better options. But I think for now, I think Judo is definitely a solid pick. But don't expect this pilot to be able to fit into a lot more of future stuff, just because of how it's kind of structured, right? But other than that, there's gonna be pretty much it as far as the review. You guys definitely let me know if you guys are summoning for the Double Zeta Gundam. Like I said again, it really determines on how you feel about your diamonds, and then whether or not you want another backline unit, because like let's say you do have S Gundam pretty well developed, like level up, whatever, unit enhancement, whatever. I wouldn't necessarily feel like this one is gonna be another great option, because I think most people are kind of satisfied with whatever they have already, and then just want to save up for whatever the next hype stuff is. But other than that, that's going to be it for me, and I'll be catching you guys all on the next one.